Hello, my name is Luis Sanchez, and I will be presenting the Cask of Amontillado with visual aid. I decided to do the visual aid on my computer simply so I don't have to go looking for another software and struggle with anything that could happen. Now, to start, it is Edgar Allan Poe that writes the story. Edgar writes the story in order to show the darkness that can hide behind a friendly face, and how even your friends can be the ones to kill you. Now, the reason I thought the story was cool was because of the direction the story took, starting with someone being friendly just to see how he was the opposite of that mask. Another reason I thought it was interesting is because of the way he continued drinking even after he had his limit. Fortunato continued drinking even after being so intoxicated to the point that he didn't even notice that he was being shackled up. Now, this is my visual aid for a clown drinking. Now, one excerpt from the passage that I think is important to understand the gravity of the passage is, "It must be understood that neither by word nor deed had I given Fortunato cause to doubt my goodwill. I continued, as was my wont, to smile in his face, and he did not perceive that my smile now was at the thought of his immolation." Now, this excerpt is important because it really shows us how Montresor managed to trick Fortunato into going into his catacombs. He led him with this. It's a wine bottle called Amontillado. He said that he had some in his vault and that he wanted him to see if it was really Amontillado. He fed into his ego with a friendly face in order to make him want to go into the catacombs. Which are these? This is the entrance to the catacombs. And this, after the enter the catacombs, Montresor keeps feeding and feeding and feeding Fortunato wine, all to show a good face and in order to intoxicate him enough to carry out his plans. Now, some fun facts about the story is that some people think the story originated from a story he heard while stationed at Fort Independence in Massachusetts, 1827. Now, this is a likely story, given that he was stationed there and that he likely got a lot of inspiration for his writings from his time as a soldier. However, another theory is that it was in response to his rival Thomas Dunn English, who made bad critiques on some of Poe's work. Now, I personally believe that this theory is more likely, given that this scenario follows exactly the plot line of the Cask of Amontillado. It starts with someone insulting the other's work, which is Fortunato insulting Montresor. Now, although Edgar Allan Poe did not go as far as to kill Thomas Dunn English, I still think it's important to consider this as one of the main theories behind the story. Now, this is Thomas Dunn English, right here. Now, I believe that others should experience this text because of how it demonstrates the human psyche. It shows that even a friendly and helpful face can be psychotic and sporadic. Another reason I believe that everyone should read it is because it's simply because of the thrill of the story. It has an amazing plot, and the suspense had me at the edge of my seat the whole time. Now, with these two reasons, it is very important to note that the point of dark romanticism is to show the depth of the human mind, and two, to have a thrill, to be a thriller, to be scary. Now, the Cask of Amontillado does this perfectly by having an insane character lead another character into his catacombs and then burying him alive, which is a very cruel fate no matter what the circumstance. So I believe that this did fulfill the requirements to be called a dark romanticism, and I think that everyone should read it simply because of the story. It has an amazing plot. Now, my thoughts on the text are that it was very good, the tension was palpable, and I found the edge very unnerving, which is again the point of dark romanticism. Some other thoughts that I had is that Montresor did a very good job putting on a friendly face and feigning his worry for his cough and how it could get worse. Now, one way that Montresor managed to gain the trust of Fortunato so well is, of course, his friendly face, which I've mentioned, but he demonstrated worry whenever he started coughing in his catacombs. Montresor recognized that Fortunato could get worse from the humid and cold environment, but Fortunato was a fool and kept going, given that Montresor kept taunting him with the idea of having someone else test Amontillado. Now, that is the end to my presentation, and I hope it was a very good presentation.